Iran's foreign minister says the country's security forces have regained control after nearly 2 weeks of unrest that spread across cities and towns nationwide. The protests, which began amid growing economic pressure, quickly evolved into a broader challenge to the country's leadership, drawing large crowds and triggering a heavy security response. Officials insist the situation is now stabilized. They say order has been restored, transport networks are functioning, and public life is gradually returning to normal. State media has shown images of shops reopening and supporters gathering in public squares, projecting a sense of calm and continuity. Outside the country, human rights campaigners present a far darker picture. They say the scale of violence during the unrest was unprecedented in recent years. According to these groups, hundreds of people lost their lives and thousands were detained during security operations aimed at suppressing the protests. Independent verification remains extremely difficult as access to information inside the country has been restricted and many families are reluctant to speak publicly. Witness accounts that have emerged describe scenes of chaos and fear. People who took part in the demonstrations say they were met with overwhelming force. Many claim that security units moved quickly to clear streets, arrest participants and prevent gatherings from forming again. Because of the risks involved, those who have spoken out have done so anonymously, fearing retaliation. One account describes streets covered in blood and bodies being removed in trucks. Another said entire neighborhoods were sealed off overnight, with residents afraid to leave their homes. These testimonies cannot be independently confirmed, but together they paint a picture of a society under immense strain. The Iranian government rejects claims of mass casualties and says foreign media and activist groups are exaggerating events to destabilize the country. Officials argue that security forces acted to protect public order and prevent violence, insisting that many of those arrested were involved in vandalism or unrest rather than peaceful protest. At the centre of the political response is Iran's foreign minister, who has stated that the authorities now have full control in all cities. He has emphasised that the government views the unrest as contained and manageable, framing the protests as the work of a limited group rather than a nationwide uprising. The unrest has also drawn strong reactions from abroad, particularly from Washington. US President Donald Trump has said his administration is closely watching events and weighing its response. Speaking to reporters, he suggested that serious options were being considered if the situation worsened. There seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed, he said. These are violent. If you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. The remarks added to an already tense relationship between Tehran and Washington. Iranian leaders quickly responded by warning against any external involvement, saying the country would defend itself if necessary, while rejecting the idea that it seeks confrontation. Tehran made clear it is prepared for any scenario. You asked whether a preemptive operation is on our agenda. It is not. We do not want war, but we are completely ready for it, an Iranian official said. We are even more prepared than before the last war. And the reason for that is obvious. The exchange highlights the delicate balance both sides are trying to maintain. On one hand, Washington signals concern over human rights and internal stability. On the other, Tehran frames foreign statements as pressure tactics and insists that its sovereignty will not be compromised. Inside Iran, analysts say the protests represent one of the most serious challenges the leadership has faced in years. What makes this moment different, they argue, is not only the scale of the unrest, but the depth of frustration behind it. Economic hardship, currency weakness and long-standing sanctions have weighed heavily on daily life, eroding hope among many citizens. Observers note that previous protest waves were often localised or focused on specific grievances. This time, demonstrations spread rapidly across dozens of locations, including small towns as well as major cities. That geographic breadth placed enormous strain on security forces, which had to respond simultaneously in many areas. Commentators familiar with Iranian society say a sense of hopelessness has taken hold, particularly among younger people. Many feel there is no clear path forward under current policies. While economic triggers may spark protests, the underlying anger runs deeper, reflecting demands for broader structural change. In recent days, the government strategy appears to have followed three main tracks. First, mobilising its own supporters to demonstrate publicly, signalling that the leadership still commands loyalty. Second, using state media to show images of normalcy, suggesting that disruptions are temporary. And third, deploying security forces decisively to prevent protests from continuing. Footage aired on foreign state television showed scenes from Tehran that appeared calm, including shops open and people going about daily business. Officials say this demonstrates that stability has returned. Critics argue that such images do not reflect conditions everywhere and that fear keeps many people indoors. Security operations in several provincial cities were particularly intense. Videos circulating online, though difficult to verify, appear to show security units firing into crowds and dispersing gatherings with force. Rights groups say it was this approach that ultimately broke the momentum of the protests. For many Iranians, the cost of challenging the state has been extremely high. Families search for missing relatives while others remain silent, unsure whom to trust. Communication disruptions have further isolated communities, making it harder for people to share information or seek help. Despite the crackdown, analysts caution against assuming the unrest has permanently ended. They point out that similar movements in the past subsided only to re-emerge later, often with greater intensity. The underlying issues driving discontent, economic strain, political exclusion and lack of opportunity remain unresolved. Much now depends on whether people feel able to return to the streets or whether fear keeps them away. Sustained protests, it would pose a serious challenge to the state's capacity to maintain control, especially given the country's size and diversity. Managing unrest across dozens of locations simultaneously is a massive undertaking. Attention is also focused on Washington's next move. Some see the protests as leverage in broader negotiations, particularly over Iran's nuclear program. Others argue that the moment represents a historic opportunity to push for fundamental change, comparing it to turning points in other geopolitical struggles. Within US political circles, opinions are divided. Some advisors urge caution, warning that external pressure could strengthen hardliners inside Iran. Others argue that failing to act would squander a rare moment of vulnerability for the Iranian leadership. If the current system were ever to collapse, the consequences would extend far beyond Iran's borders. Analysts say it would reshape regional politics and challenge decades-old ideological frameworks. The Islamic Republic, established in 1979, has been a defining force in Middle Eastern affairs for more than 4 decades. The possible end of that system would raise profound questions about the future of political Islam and the balance of power across the region. Supporters of change see it as an opportunity for renewal. Critics fear instability and unpredictable outcomes. For now, Iranian leaders insist such scenarios are hypothetical. They maintain that the state remains strong, unified and capable of managing dissent. Officials emphasize resilience, portraying the unrest as a temporary disturbance rather than an existential threat. Yet beneath official statements, the events of recent weeks have left a mark. They have revealed deep fractures within society and highlighted the risks of prolonged economic and political stagnation. Even if calm has returned to the streets, tensions remain unresolved. The young people who took part in the demonstrations have shown a willingness to challenge authority despite the risks. Whether their actions lead to lasting change is uncertain. What is clear is that their voices reflect a generation grappling with limited prospects and searching for a different future. As Iran moves forward from this moment, the choices made by its leaders and by foreign powers watching closely will shape what comes next. Stability may have been restored for now, but the questions raised by the unrest are far from settled.